Hello, this is SpongicX with more on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Last time I did a top 15 video of what I consider to be the worst levels in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So today I'm going to do something a little bigger. I'm going to make a top 30 list of what I consider to be the best stages in this game. I'm sorry, there's just too many stages in this game to ignore that are really good, so I felt it would be, fitting to give all these the credit they deserve. So, this is the biggest top list video I've ever made, without a doubt, but anyways, let's get started. Number 30 is PictoChat, based off of PictoChat from the original Nintendo DS. So, a lot of people might not remember this, but PictoChat was like a little message board where you could draw little images between friends, and for those like me who, love to draw, this was a pretty fun app to play with. I still have pretty fond memories of goofing off with friends with this app. We would just make funny games out of like drawings. Like we'd do like something where we'd draw an image and the other person has to draw what can defeat that and vice versa. It's really, the things you can do on this were kind of fun. However, I still question why they decided to make this stage inspired by PictoChat when honestly this feels more like it was a stage inspired by Flipnote Studio, because PictoChat, you couldn't make the drawings move. But yeah, it's still really fun for those who like art or just a creative stage in general. Number 29 is Arena from Punch-Out! Despite never really being a fan of the Punch-Out games, it was just never my thing. I still really enjoy the stage, though, for its scenery. I mean, it's just a simple arena, but it's just got so much atmosphere, with the cheering crowds, the stage lights. It just makes for a really cool scenery for a fight. And I also love how you can actually break, like, the thing holding the lights at the top and how it can come crashing down on the opponents. It just makes for a really great set of scenery for fights. Number 28, Super Mario Maker. So this is a pretty creative idea for a stage. Just a randomly generated stage that constantly swaps between the four main Super Mario themes from Super Mario Maker, including Mario Bros. 1, Mario World, Mario Bros. 3, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii U. It's just a really creative stage. The only problem I really have with this stage, though, is that I think it changes too constantly. It would be nice if it gave you a little more time to appreciate some of the scenery and details before it constantly swaps over. That being said, though, I also like how this honestly felt more like a teaser for Super Mario Maker 2, considering how it has slopes and stuff like that. A lot of stuff that wasn't available in the original Mario Maker. Number 27 is Final Destination. Yeah, I know it's pretty cliche for a lot of people to consider this one of the best stages, but I mean, it's just a simple arena, but it makes for great competitive battles or just those who just want to fight without a whole bunch of gimmicks or platforms. But the main reason I love it is just the scenery. I just think it's got a really cool a lot going on in the background. It just makes for some really dramatic fights, even with such cutesy characters like Pichu or Pikachu. And but yeah, like overall though, I put this pretty low on the list because although it is a nice looking stage, it's like almost every stage in this, well, pretty much every stage in this game has a Final Destination variant, so it makes this one feel a little less unique compared to other stages when practically every stage can be a clone of this. But I still think it's worth mentioning on the list because of the, the details alone. It kind of has, like, each Final Destination usually has some kind of, like, dreamlike sci-fi feel to it, and I like how, it's like, I feel like ever since Brawl, some of the Final Destination designs haven't been as good as they used to be, but I thought this one was actually pretty decent. The one in the Wii U version wasn't too bad either. It kind of had, like, a Soul Calibur versus Soul Edge vibe to it, but, I kind of wish they kind of kept it, though, the way it was on the Wii U version, but I still think it's a nice design regardless. Number 26, Yoshi's Island. So I have a very soft spot for Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. I think it's a very fun and creative game. I love, like, the crayon-styled, I like the crayon art style the game has, and not only that, but being one of the first games where you actually got to play as Yoshi alone, not just Mario riding Yoshi. And, there's been so many great spin offs from that game, including Yoshi's Story, the Yoshi's Island sequels, Yoshi's um, Woolly World, Yoshi's Crafted World. And so, yeah, making a stage inspired by the original Yoshi's Island was pretty cool. And not only does it have a lot of cool, like, animated scenery in the background, but the Seasons of Changes are a really cool touch as well. So, yeah, this is definitely one of the best stages inspired by a Yoshi game in Super Smash Bros., in my opinion. Number 25, Isle Delfino. Now, Super Mario Sunshine is a very underrated game. To this day, people are still clamoring for a remake or even a re-release. But, so yeah, Super Mario Sunshine really felt like a vacation gone wrong. And so it's very suitable for them to make that into a level, a vacation gone wrong. It just keeps dropping you off at all these different landmarks, and then right when you have moments of enjoying it, it quickly ships you off to another. It really feels like a rushed vacation, and with all the chaos that can go on with the battles, it just makes for a very suitable stage. Number 24, Castle Siege. Now, I was never a huge Fire Emblem fan, but darn it, there's no denying that this stage is epic. What starts off as a fight between a castle warfare quickly shifts into where you get dropped inside the actual castle, followed by getting dropped into a lower level full of hot lava, and this stage just makes for a lot of epic scenery, which makes for a lot of epic battles. Number 23, Pirate Ship, from The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Now this is just a very fun and stylish stage. It's just nothing but sailing across a pirate ship, occasionally coming across some dangers, whether it's enemy cannon fire or even a tornado that takes your ship sky high. Occasionally you have the King of Red Lions appear, and so you can just jump on there for a more of a challenging fight. Occasionally you have the catapult that launches out. It's just a very fun voyage stage. Number 22, Reset Button, from Kid Icarus Uprising. It's crazy how they were able to take an iconic part from the game and turn it entirely into a level. So, of course, this is the part where Verity sets like war on mankind to the point where she manages to reset time to where humanity doesn't exist. It's nothing but plant life and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it just makes for such a crazy stage. Seeing it one minute being caught up in like the warfare to suddenly getting caught in the middle of the reset explosion, and eventually for it to revert back to normal only to happen over again. It's just one crazy stage. Number 21, Halberd from Kirby Superstar. So Meta Knight was always an iconic character, and so having him in Brawl was not only exciting, but seeing his trademark Mother Ship as a stage was just epic. So this is just one of those tour stages where you just have really epic scenery going on in the background, and they really amped it up in the remade version here on Switch with better clouds, a better ocean view, sunset, and it's just a really well done remade stage. Number 20, Tortimer Island from Animal Crossing New Leaf. Now this is similar to the Delfino Isle stage. This is another stage that feels like a vacation gone wrong, but one reason I prefer this stage over Isle Delfino is how it's always in place. Now Isle Delfino doesn't give you much of a chance to enjoy the scenery because it's only a moment of time before it shifts to another area, but this stage it allows you to not only stay on the island location long enough, but another fun detail is how it's randomly generated every time you start it up. So sometimes or at least that's how it was in the 3DS version. I honestly haven't noticed if they kept it the same way in the Switch version, but regardless, it's still cool how there will always be like plants that have like fruits that'll drop down that you can use as projectile items, or you have the shark that occasionally comes in and can attack, and it's just a really fun level overall. Number 19, Luigi's Mansion. Now, Super Smash Bros. Brawl introduced some fun new kind of stages to the game. Stages with destruction physics. And Luigi's Mansion was definitely one of the more standout ones. So not only is it kind of fun to be like a miniature version of Luigi's Mansion with multiple rooms and stuff like that, but the fact that the mansion is destroyable is what also makes this a really chaotic level. And then it's funny how occasionally you see like spirits resurrect the mansion to its former state. It's just a really crazy level, but got like the big over exaggerated moon shot in the background and the gothic scenery. It just makes for a real fun setting. Number 18, Apartment from Tamagotchi Life. Now this is a pretty fun and unique level that's randomly generated each time. It randomly places your Miis into different generated rooms. So it's always fun because you never know what can show up. It's especially fun if you have a whole bunch of Miis, and it's kind of funny to see like what situation they're put in. Sometimes they can feel very fitting for your Miis, and other times they can just seem very out of place. It's just fun to have like the Miis just casually bursting in with a fist fight to the Miis just living their regular lives without even noticing. It's just a really funny idea for a level. It would have possibly been funnier if the Miis actually had reactions to to their surroundings, like seeing them have a shocked expression whenever you come bursting in. That would have been kind of a funny idea. But number 17, Living Room from Nintendogs. Now this is a pretty fun idea for a stage. You're just scaled down inside the living room from Nintendogs while you see like the dog in the background just roaming around and minding its own business. It doesn't care that there's a giant fight going on. It's just living its life, and it's just such a cute stage. However, I do feel like although the visuals in this one look really nice, I feel like it's a bit dumbed down compared to the 3DS version, because if I'm not mistaken, the 3DS version could have like up to 2 or 3 dogs at once, and randomly there might be a cat in the background as well, but unfortunately for the remake they only kept one dog at a time. It's nice though that they switch the dogs up every once in a while, but it still feels pretty empty compared to what the 3DS version was capable of. Number 16, Elden Bridge from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Now, Super Smash Bros. Is always full of stages with very narrow or open platforms or cliffs, and it's just kind of a shame that there aren't too many levels that are just more open, wide and open, making for more epic fights. And so that's what makes this stage so great. It's one of the first like stages in the game series to ever be like a big wide open level. Occasionally you do have where the Buck Goblins come in and cause like a giant explosion, which makes a great huge gap in the middle of the bridge. That's like the only major obstacle in this game, but even then it's still a pretty fun challenge, and I think it's funny how occasionally you see Midna open a portal and fix the bridge. It's just very nostalgic to the game it's based on. Number 15, the Kalos Elite Four from Pokemon X and Y. Now, I think this is one of the best stages inspired by the Pokemon series. It has such epic scenery, and it's really cool to finally see a stage inspired by the Elite Four, where you have like all these different stages that represent the gym leaders. So, you know, you have the dragon phase, the fire phase, the water phase, the metal phase, well, steel phase. It's just a really interesting set piece for battles. It's also nice to see all the random Pokemon just generated in the background. Watching the fights just makes everything so entertaining. Number 14, Woohoo Island from Wii Sports Resort. Now this is another tour stage that, similar to Isle Delfino, it's like a vacation stage, but I think this one just has greater set pieces. A lot of them I just wish were stages in general. So you have the giant drawbridge, which is really fun and challenging, but you then also have the giant beach, the fountain area, and even an active volcano. It's just such a crazy stage with such gorgeous visuals. It's just a shame we don't have enough stages that have such open areas to fight, and it's a shame you don't have more time to enjoy these small areas you get dropped off at. Number 13, Umbra Clock Tower from Bayonetta. How suitable for all the stages they could have picked for Bayonetta. They chose the prologue segment where you're just like on this infinite fall of like a broken clock tower with all these demon angels like popping up in the background, and it just makes for some really epic scenery. Number 12, Brightstar Depths from Metroid. Now this is a very unique stage. Not only is it one of the only stages that actually rotates at 360 degrees, it's just such a gorgeous and haunting stage to fight on. Make sure you play as a character who actually knows how to have very good jumps, though. Otherwise, they will have a lot of trouble. Number 11, Venom from Star Fox 64. Now, I'll never forget how shocked I was when I first played Melee and I saw how epic it was that they made the final level from Star Fox 64 into an actual stage. This is such an epic stage with such gorgeous visuals and such a unique approach. I mean, we've already seen in the past like 2 stages inspired by the Great Fox, and they were all horizontal stages. So it's kind of interesting to finally have a version of it where you're fighting on the ship in more of a vertical view instead of a horizontal view. However, that's kind of the flaw of this level as well. It's although it is gorgeous, it is a pretty smaller and unevenly shaped arena compared to like Corneria or Sector Z from the past entries. But it's still a great stage nevertheless. Number 10 is Fountain of Dreams from Kirby's Adventure. Now this is just a beautiful stage. All the colors, the reflecting water, and not to mention that unforgettable remix of the Gourmet Chase from Kirby Superstar. It is just an epic stage, one of the best from Melee. It is a shame that the stage can be considered a little too small, though, but darn it, it is just perfect in almost every other way, though. Number 9, Onett from Earthbound, also known as Mother 2. Now, this is just a very memorable and wacky stage. It's like the closest you'll get to actually having this feel like a street brawler, because it's one of the first stages in Super Smash Bros. History to actually have the characters fighting in like a town setting, and with ongoing traffic, the trees, the rooftops. It's just a really fun and chaotic level. Number 8, Big Blue from F-Zero. Now this is a really fun, challenging, and chaotic stage. It's one of the first stages in the series to ever feel like some kind of car chase. It makes for some really fun and action-packed fights, just hopping across all these vehicles and trying not to get run over or caught behind with the high speeds. It's just a really fun, crazy, fast-paced level. Number 7, Subcon from Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, I have a very soft spot for this game. It's a very underrated Mario game, but I just love the scenery of this game. It's like Arabic jungle setting, and so, yeah, it just makes for a really fun and unique Mario level. We got the waterfall with the logs, Birdo spitting eggs, the Pidgey with the magic carpet, and the iconic music of Subcon. It's just a really fun level. Number 6, Foresight from Earthbound, or Mother 2. Now this is just a really epic stage, a giant city in the night. Now I still have very fond memories of playing in Giant Melee, in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and just recreating like giant like monster fights with a giant Bowser versus a giant Donkey Kong. And with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate having so many more characters like with monstrous appearances like Ridley, it just makes for even more crazy possibilities for recreating like giant movie monster fights. We have like the giant UFO that occasionally drops in, and it just makes for a really fun setting. Number 5 is Pokemon Stadium. Now this may be a very basic stage, and it may feel kind of pointless because they have a stage called Pokemon Stadium 2, which is almost like an exact clone of this stage, which, if you think about it, should have been a 2-in-1. They should have just merged Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 in a one stage. But regardless, I still think Pokemon Stadium is a very iconic stage. It's just so much fun, and I think it's so much better than Pokemon Stadium 2. Not game-wise, level-wise, but yeah, like there's just so much fun in this stage. You have the iconic arena with the Pokeball-shaped center, and then you got the fun little transformations inspired by other gyms from past games. So, yeah, it's just a really fun stage. And it's also cool how they have the giant monitor in the background, which occasionally shows like close-up replays. It's really cool. Number 4, Temple from Zelda 2. Now this is a very memorable stage for me. I remember like in the past, if people didn't want to fight on Final Destination, they always wanted to fight on this stage. It is just very fun, especially with multiplayer. It's just a really fun open stage. It makes for some really funny chases between friends, and the stage is just built so differently from others. The underground areas make for great like little ricochet fests. It's just funny to see like how many times you can bounce like a CPU off of it, or it's just a really fun stage to chase opponents around, and there's no doubt you're gonna have fun with the stage. Number 3, Peach's Castle Melee version. Now, Super Mario 64 is a very nostalgic game for me. It was one of the very first video games I ever played, and to this day, I think it still holds up as a very fun platformer, which we just don't get enough 3D platformers anymore inspired by Mario 64, and I'd really love to see more of those. But I just remember how iconic it was. The castle itself, it just held so many possibilities for multiple levels to find, and so, yeah, making a stage of that was a no-brainer. Now, they tried making a stage of it in the first Super Smash Bros., and it was very underwhelming. You weren't even at the castle at all. You were just on a floating little tower miles away above the actual castle. It was such a tease. And so, Melee, they actually bothered making a level where you actually fight on the castle, and they added so much more detail to it that can't be seen in the original game. You can see so many things off in the distance. There's like little islands, a waterfall, and it's just such a gorgeous stage. And occasionally you have the giant bonsai bill that comes dropping in, and it just makes for a really fun obstacle. And it's just a very fun castle-themed stage. Number 2, Spiral Mountain from Banjo-Kazooie. I know, it's crazy. This is a very recent stage. It's barely been out, and already it's number 2 on my list. I just think this is a very fun and unique and nostalgic stage. One thing that really stands out about the stage is how it's the first and only stage in Super Smash Bros. History that occasionally has the camera rotate at 360 degrees. And it sounds like it would be very challenging, but no, it actually works a lot. It works really well. Here, I was thinking players were going to be falling through the sides, and no, it's actually really easy to stay on the platform still. And the items even manage to rotate around as well, and I just love the attention to detail in the background with all the guest characters showing up, and it's just a really gorgeous remake of a video game that hasn't seen the light of day in so long. It was a very warm welcome to one of my favorite 3D platformers of all time, and it's not just the nostalgia talking though. I really do think this stage alone really stands out. And now, number 1 is Corneria from Star Fox. Now, in the original Super Smash Bros., one of my all-time favorite stages was Sector Z, and it always saddened me how they never bothered bringing back that stage or remaking it, but the closest thing we ever had to it was Corneria. Now, Corneria may not have the night sky setting that the original had, but it still has, some really interesting, it has really beautiful imagery in the background with the ocean, the islands you're flying by, the cloudy sky, and they even added a little bit of like a sun in the background in this one, or some kind of moon. I don't know what that is, but there's just something really fun about fighting on a giant mother ship, and it just stood out in the first Smash Bros. Game, and it still stands out in this one. And I just think this one's a really fun stage, and it's practically appeared in almost every Super Smash Bros. Game except for the Wii U version. Although it did return in Brawl, the 3DS version, and of course it was remade for this game as well, but I just think this one really stands out for a reason. Well, those were my top 30 favorite stages in Super Smash Bros. What were your favorite stages? Feel free to let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.